For stage 2, we're going to look at organizing the site navigation, and you've kind of already done this with your site plan, so hopefully you understand better the information architecture of a website, including those parent pages, the sibling pages, and then the child pages that come off of the parent and sibling pages. You can read about that more in the textbook. We are now going to create some hyperlinks within our site. Go ahead and open the index.html page, and I'm going to switch to Design View. Double-click the word Home to select that text. Notice I have my Properties panel open. Make sure you go to Window Properties if you don't see it to open that panel. And we're going to look at some different ways of hyperlinking. With the Insert panel that is behind the Files panel here, you can click on that, make sure the HTML option is selected, and then click on Hyperlink. That brings up the hyperlink pane, and then we can click on the Browse to folder and select index.html because we want to link the home text to our home page, which is index.html. Click Open, and then for target, we're going to select Self, which is the default, and that just opens up the page within this page. I typically like to select New. You can read in the textbook the different options, but if you select New, it opens it up in a new window, so that keeps the previous window open as well. But sometimes that causes too many windows to be open at the same time. So we're just going to select the default Self here, and then under Title, we're going to give it a description. Type in the word Home, or to be more specific, let's call it FB Fresh Bistro Home, and then click on OK. If you notice in the Properties panel, it is showing up there as well. There's your linked HTML page, the title, and then the target. Also, if you look in the Code pane, you can see the code has been added under the navigation tags. You have the list tag for your first listed item, the home page, the target, the title. You can also see that the list item for the home text, there is now an ahref tag added to it, and that is your hyperlink reference. So it's linked to index.html. Now select the word About by double-clicking on it, and we're just going to hyperlink this one slightly differently. I'm going to go back to my Files panel, and this time I'm going to use the Properties panel, and you can move this around if you want to. What I'm going to do is use the point2 file by clicking on the point2 icon and clicking and dragging to the About page. So look for the about.html and just point to that web page, that file name, and now this text is linked to about.html. I can type in the title and the target here. Now I want to select the word Menus, and I want to link the menus to the Menu1 HTML page. Now notice the directory here on the Properties panel under Link. It says menus/menu1.html, and that's telling you that this file menu1.html is nested within the menus folder. So the / shows you that this is within another folder that's nested within your local root folder. So that's very important that you link these correctly, because when you upload it to the server is going to look for a folder called Menus, and then inside that folder it's going to look for this menu1.html. If you move files around and you take it out and move it outside of this Menus folder, and your link doesn't change, this link directory, the server won't be able to find that file. So if you move files around, you have to change your link directory as well. Now I want to click on Special Events, and I want to link that page, and we're going to use a different method. If you select that text and hold down the Shift key, I can drag and point to the Events HTML page to link it that way. And then I can use the Properties panel again to add my target and title. I'm going to move my Properties panel back down and change to Live View so you can see how it will look in the browser. I'm going to go to my footer. So in Live View, if I select an element, it shows you the element frame, and then I can double click to insert my cursor inside that frame, and I'm just going to select the text against the clock .inc. In the Quick Property Inspector, right above that element, I can select the hyperlink button and then just type in the URL address there. You have to use the full URL, http://www.againsttheclock.com. And I usually like to copy and paste the URL directly from the browser, so I type it so I don't have to worry about typing it in incorrectly. Again, we can look and see it's showing up in the properties pane and also in our code view that href tag has been added. I'm going to go back to design view. Notice there's an asterisk next to my file name and it shows that I have not saved my changes. So you can go ahead and save your page. And we're going to review the tag selector on the lower left here. I'm going to click on the text in my navigation menu, and then I can look at my tag selectors. So I've got a body tag, a navigation tag, unordered list, and you're going to be doing some of that coding in Free Code Camp, a list tag, and the hyperlink tag. If I click on unordered list, it will select the entire list in my navigation menu. So that's an easy way. Just selecting that tag, I can select that entire list here in the code. What I want to do is copy that code by going to Edit, Copy, or Command C on a Mac, and then I can paste that code into my other files. So I'm going to open about.html and select my navigation, select the unordered list, and go ahead and edit paste that code from the navigation from the index page to my about page. And I can do that for all my pages so that I don't have to go in and retype and relink all of the text in my navigation menu. I can just copy and paste the code. So you can do that for your events page and your menu pages. Let's talk a little bit about relative paths and absolute paths. So if I click on some text in my navigation menu here on the index page, you can see that this is a relative path, and that means that this item is linked to another page within my local root folder. If you link outside of your local root folder, that's an absolute link or an absolute path. For example, the Against the Clock website would be an absolute path because it links somewhere outside of my root folder, and I wouldn't be able to check that link for any absolute paths until I upload my site onto the web host server. If we go to our menu HTML page, I'm going to click on the home navigation, and I need to relink this because now I am inside a nested folder. So if I point to the index.html page, notice now that in the properties panel, it's added this ... And that's telling the server that we need to go up a folder in the directory because this menus page is nested within a folder that's inside our local root folder. We're going up a folder in the directory. So that's what the ... looks like. And instead of having to worry so much about typing that in, all you need to do is just repoint to the file name and it will automatically add that for you. So you would do that for both your menu pages, and then I would need to go through and do that for the About page as well as the Special Events page, and it will add that ... in the directory because we're going up a folder now. We're going outside of this menus folder to access those web pages. Go back to your menu 1 page, and I want to select lunch menu text, and I want to link that text to menu 1, and then I'm going to link the dinner menu text to menu 2. Then I want to do that for menu 2 HTML as well. And then for your other pages, make sure that the menus page is linked with that menus folder directory. Alright, once you've linked all of your menus on the menu 1 and menu 2 HTML pages, we want to create an email link. Go to the about.html page, and we're going to go back to our insert panel under HTML, and we're going to use the email link. So scroll down to the email address on the page, select the email address, and then select email link in your insert panel, and it shows you what the email address that you have selected. Go ahead and click OK, and then you'll see in the properties panel it adds the mail to text in front of that, and that will link it to that email address. If you look in the code pane, you will also see href equals quotes mail to and then the email address. So anytime you want to link to an email address, you want to make sure you add that mail to text in the code. And that completes stage 2 in the bistro site organization.